But what is going on, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of the Predcast, number, 63, maybe? Is that right?
Yes.
Let's go. Hey, man, when I was gone, you asked for the number 2. I caught you. I'm just saying.
It was a joke. It was a joke.
Nah. I saw that from a mile away. He's like, what number is it? He's like, see, it's not that easy, is it? Okay. But what's going on, everybody? We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about ranked. I'm going to discuss a couple of other, debates here and there, so to speak. We got our home skillet biscuit, Joey, yours truly, joining us again, one of the OG Predcast members. But before we get into it, let's do our little introductions. Let's actually go Joey, then F6, then Bearded, then myself. Tell the homies a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Yeah, this is yours truly back on the podcast episode. For those who do not know me, I'm primarily a YouTuber. I do daily commentary on videos gameplay of not only like meta builds, but also kind of like fun builds that people both love and hate me for. You guys can also see me on Twitter where I do some occasional like updates or just like feedback on what I'm talking about in the game, or if you want to just look at pictures of my doggos on there as well.
Or it's funny.
People love and hate me for it. Yes.
Yeah, the moment he said that,
Twin Best.
I was like,
I was like, you got to be kidding me, Joey.
I mean, have you seen that tweet I made? I actually made a meme post on it.
Oh, bro,
So check it out.
No, you should, because like it's like perfect, because when I did my mortgage myth video, the one with the Infernum kind of tag going on with that, my first 2 comments were literally like Joey yes and Joey no in my comments. So I just did a screenshot of that. I thought it was hilarious, so I just made a meme out of it.
Bro,
there you go.
I will say the moment I see any steel build Sky Splitter, I'm like, Joey. That's a Joey problem.
Hey, that's the classic build.
Before I do my intro, Joey put the hands on some dude in my ranked game with Bonesaw Sky Splitter, and he was Zarus, and I was like, "Are you got to be kidding me? How do you lose that late?" Anyways, but yeah, it's your boy F6. I stream on Twitch, pretty much in the mornings or whenever I want. But most of the time, you can catch me commentating not on daily videos because YouTube is not my thing, but over on some competitive stuff. Bang booth this weekend if you guys want to see the final stage, and some more tournaments coming around, PCC next. But yeah, other than that, I'm here on Predecessor as well.
Alrighty. What's going on, everybody? Is I, the beautiful Wolverine, your Michigan Wonder. Excited to have this one here for you. Like Lance Cecil said in chat, we got 6 more episodes. If you know, you know. If you don't, then figure it out. Anyways, I did not get to play it ranked, and I won't get to play it ranked, and I won't get to watch Fang Booth this weekend because I'm busy doing softball stuff. So,
hey, Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah, dude, I'm Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm like, it's softball season, man. Like, give me stuff during the week. I gotcha. Let's go. But yeah, so it is what it is. But I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say about ranked, because I saw some spicy takes and interesting comments on what ranked was and what ranked might be. So I can't wait to hear it. So, Windu?
I'll be real with you. Just going through comments on Twitter is hilarious in its own. Like, just seeing like both sides, like opposite ends. Like, you'd think that people talking politics or some shit in here, bro. It's actually crazy.
Yeah.
But what's going on, guys? I'm Windu, also known as Windy the Mace. I predominantly do Predcast videos, and every once in a while educational content is what I've been leaning towards. Definitely got to get back on that boat. But yeah, I want to get right into it. Is there a specific subject that we're gonna talk about first?
Ranked.
You want to go straight into it?
Ranked.
It's all about ranked.
Oh, don't forget we're talking about ranked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah. That's all. I mean, that's really all that was. Since the last episode we did, there's been no patch. Ranked was available. Joey wants to talk about ranked because Joey hit me up. He's like, "Hey, let's ranked is out. I want to talk." I'm like, "All right, let's get you on the show." So yeah, ranked is what we're going to talk about. Like I said, I didn't get to play. I did read some comments about how things happened. I want to talk to you guys. I want your thoughts on the ban system and how it was implemented and what you guys think needs to be done, or do you think it's in a good spot?
Oh, I think we're all going to be in unanimous agreement in this question here.
I'm leaving it open to let you talk about it because I wasn't there. I only know of what happened. So tell me how it went for you guys.
I like the the overall outlook and the idea of it, I can see where they can continue to build on it. But the way it is now is not the best. One, you're both banning at the same time, which is not bad. But the thing is, you can't see what they're banning. So like you just end up banning the same hero and it just feels bad. Like if I knew, for instance, like, hey, we banned first and they ban, but we'd still ban the same hero, that's kind of one different thing. But I don't know, it just kind of feels wonky with that area because you just kind of just hoping that you just be able to ban characters, but you only ban one.
Why? Okay, I don't play a lot of ranked matches and a lot of things, right? But when I do play, like I understand how it's supposed to go. Like, you know, like same thing as when you're picking, right? This team gets to pick first, and then it goes over to this team picking first. So it's the same thing as a ban. So why would you not why is it not like that? Why would you not, hey, you get first ban, you get second ban, and now you get first pick, now you get second pick? Like, why wouldn't it be that way? Like, I don't understand why you would have that situation where you could have the same hero banned. Like in Paladins, you can't ban the same hero twice. It's not happening. You're not going to ban Terminus from one team, and the other team's going to ban Terminus too. Like, it doesn't, it makes no sense why that's even up. I'm hoping they're going to come out and say it's a bug, because it doesn't even seem like that's even, like, for a team. Again, I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but it's going to sound like I'm an asshole, so forgive me for it sounding this way, because I don't know how else to say it. But for a team,
you got the right shirt for it,
right? For a team that's comprised of gamers and that came from the competitive scene, like, how would you implement this into a game and expect that, think that this is a good situation?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think they have we kind of gave them, like, the competitive scene gave them a pick ban, like a route to go with, to even like kind of base it off of, and I kind of feel like they just kind of threw it away.
You know what
I think?
Go ahead, Joey. Go ahead.
I don't know. I was gonna say, I think just the whole rank where it's at, I feel like there's a lot of stuff the team already knows what they want to do with it, but they're sort of just limited on what they need to do with it. Like the whole like banning at the same time, probably they're limited on the time they have on the lobby screen going back and forth, right? Because we already don't have hero swap, role swap, and those two things are very like no for me kind of thing. Like, we have to have those, but I understand you have to do some tech work and other stuff in the background to make it work. But at the same time, it's just, I think I said in one of my videos, I kind of wish that this rank mode just bake an oven just a little bit longer, because I feel like there's a lot of stuff missing, and there's a lot of issues and some bugs even with this whole rank system that I think is really frustrating people at the moment. Like,
yeah.
I'll
Sorry.
let you go.
I was just going to throw out there real quick. So Crashy and Lance brought up great points in the chat. Shout out to the homies. So League of Legends has blind bans, but each person gets their own bans. So there's a potential of 10 heroes getting banned out, or if there's duplicates, you know, obviously that shortens down the ban pool, so to speak, right? I don't know if maybe they were like, hey, let's try to have a League of Legends ban system, but we don't got enough players, keep it to one, which I just think is like the short end of every situation, and it's just not a good idea, personally. I don't know if maybe they were like, hey, we saw what they did, what they're doing in Fang Booth, PCC, all these other tournaments and stuff. We see the 2-ban system. It's working for them, but we don't want to ban that many people, I guess. Because
I'm not necessarily worried about 2 bans, right? That's what I know from Paladins, right? That's the one that I played the most and I understand the most, right? So I'm gonna keep referencing that one. I'm not saying that we need to have 2 bans per team, but just when you have 1 ban per team, like, to be able to both ban Sparrow, let's, for example, like, and that, like, that was a waste of a ban. Like that, if both teams ban the same hero, then it's like, what is the point? Like, why would we not utilize and like, if I was able to see what the other team banned, like, all right, they banned Sparrow. All right, I no longer need to ban Sparrow. What's my second ban that I want to ban now? That was Sparrow's my first. They already banned that one. Now I get to take advantage and ban another hero. There's no benefit there. That's what I'm saying. Like, why would you have that system where you can ban the same hero if you're only having 1 ban per team?
Yeah, and I feel like it takes away the competitive edge of it. Because I mean, I say this a lot of time when I'm casting, the game starts in the draft, right? So you're already starting off with the first ban and trying to pick out your team comp, right? Even though, yes, it's whatever, 1-on-1, right? even if it's just a blind pick. But the fact that you're able to ban the same character just throws it all off. And I feel like there's really no tact and like no competitive edge that you can get because you guys are just picking and hoping that you'll be able to get the bans that you want.
Yeah, it's weird. Okay. After that, I agree. Joey, you brought something up, and I agree that it definitely needs to be in. And shout out to our homie Empty. Empty put a video of things that need, like, basically his video. I can't remember exactly what the thumbnail said, but it basically said ranked bad, right? And
Things that he would change.
And it's all things that need to be changed or implemented into, to make rank a better situation. And one of those things is what Joey just said as well, and that's role swap, right? And F6, you reference it as well, but you don't have the time to role swap because of how limited with the UI or whatever. It's like, that's something that definitely needs to, you need to have that ability. Technically, you do have that ability, I believe, because you can go, like, you can just talk to your team like, hey, I'll take carry role, but you have to like hit that drop down in the item shop menu, right? I don't know. Are you able to do that in ranked mode? I'm assuming it's the same style as what standard is, right? Standard mode, you're able to hit and swap your role preference in the drop down menu, right? So
yeah.
But the only one you can't do that with is jungle, right? Jungle is stuck at jungle, whoever has that.
Well,
I don't know.
The jungle role, like, so when you're in the item shop itself, you can have the drop down, but when you're in the queue, you just automatically get the role based off that selection screen, just like the regular game.
Right.
And the thing is, you can swap every other role because of that drop down menu. You can just switch your builds up or whatever it is, or heroes. But with the jungle role, the problem is the smite is always on the jungler. So you can't necessarily just be like, oh yeah, I'll go somewhere else because now the smite's not there for the jungle. So you can't swap jungle. That's really the problem. And I think that's the only thing that is really hindering it. I know they're working on it, and like Joey said, there's limitations when it comes to actually putting it out, and they are testing it. But I think that was like one of the biggest things we asked for, and it kind of just didn't get delivered.
Right.
I don't really care about role queue necessarily. I still think we could just go with picking your thing, but being able to swap that role is really that big hindrance of rank.
All right. How did it feel? All right. I know all of you guys are high ranking, or higher than me ranking. How did it feel starting off bronze 3 and climbing your way up?
Bronze 3 climbing up. So like for my case, there wasn't any issue for me like climbing my games. I even had fun with it. I'm just more worried about the people on the receiving end, right? Because since everyone's just starting at bronze 3, that means that if you queue off lane, you could go against your Shuli. If you go mid lane, you can go against Soul Reaper, right? Which, like, I mean, that's just sort of what you expect when you're like going to a like going for the very first time. Things are going to be very unbalanced. You're going to get some really wacky games. But I just see a lot of streamers going into like games where it's just like there's 5 streamers on one team, and then there's the other teams like people you don't know. And then like for my case, me and Pinso were just like winning every single game. And I just like, it's fun for us because we got to meme around and do some fun builds while still winning. But then like, I feel like that at the same time, that's really just crushing like some people's like, what do you call it? Competence.
Did you cause some people to uninstall the game, Joey? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, maybe I did. Maybe a lot of bad people did that.
Zarus, I was telling you, I'm telling you, he did. He was typing the whole game. He was getting the hands, and he was not having it.
Aye.
So in that situation, I only wish that in the future or whatever like iteration of rank they want to land on, that there's some kind of like placement style system. So like if you look at League of Legends as when you play your rank games, if you win a bunch of games, you're gonna shoot up really fast, and if you lose a lot of games, you're gonna go back down. Like essentially, it's a way to like quickly get you to the rank you actually deserve to be in. Because for me, I'm probably gonna be like still stuck in bronze for another 10 games or whatever, right? Not necessarily because I'm losing them, but because it's taking quite a while to get through all of them. Whereas if I was in League of Legends and I'm going like 5-0, I'm gonna go against like gold platinum players, and that's gonna feel more fair for the other side, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the main reasons why they don't do placement games because we don't really have a large enough player base to do that. Because if you have placement games, people are going to go really high up and really down low. And if you have enough players to fill all that holes and gaps, then you're going to get like 20-minute queues, right? Yep. So I can understand in the case why they have everyone just do bronze and you just slowly climb them up. but it's
But
still
I
kind of
think-
fresh. Oh, go
Okay,
ahead.
Joey.
No, I was
No,
just-
just. God damn it, Joey.
I'm done. Yeah, go on.
I think the easy fix for that though is not starting everybody at bronze. So like instead of starting everybody at the lowest rank, why don't you start them like most other ranked in the middle? So when you're doing those placement games, they're getting spread out evenly.
There's
in the
room to
different
drop.
directions. Yes,
Yeah.
there's room to drop. There's room to go up. So therefore, most people still stay in that middle, and you still have that little bell curve that's still going on. But now, since it's bronze, everybody's starting out here. So your bell curve is already starting out at the lowest point. And then yes, you get those people if you have placements to go up, but there's no room to drop. So there's no room to spread that bell curve. And I think that's really what the problem is.
I can agree with that. That makes sense to me. All right. What besides the ban system, whatever, what are some other issues you guys saw with rank system or rank mode, not rank system?
I'll be honest, I didn't like the fact that EU had their own rank time. Like, okay, let's just say, okay, whatever, timed event, right? EU had their own rank time. I didn't even pay attention to that, so I guess it's on me. And the East had its own rank time. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna hop on at 3. I scheduled my day. I'm not gonna be able to get on till 3. I got other work stuff to do, schedule some clients. And then out of nowhere, a couple homies hit me up. It's like, yo, rank's open at like 10 a.m. or whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck you mean it's open? No, it's not. It's at 3 p.m. It's like, no. We're all playing EU right now. And I'm like, what? Get the fuck out of here. Like, how does that fucking make sense? Just open up rank for everybody. Like, if you're going to even do time slots, right? I'm sure everybody would have liked to know that it's like, hey, just do NAEs or EU, whatever the hell you want for the full 10 hours. Have fun.
And I think that's the biggest problem with the small time window, right? It's only 8 hours. And from here, NAEs to EU, it's probably roughly around a 6-hour difference, right? So if they were to open up to like maybe like a 12-hour window or like let's just say at minimum a 12-hour window, there's a little bit more room there where you can just have one time frame for both, and then both regions can play at the same time. But that's just me. But I think it should just have been the 24-hour for the first time, just to see where you're getting your most active players, right? So I mean, yes, they're opening up for 2 days. This next rank mode.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're still in that same window. So it doesn't really give them too much data, in my opinion, on exactly where they're going to get the most activity from the rank mode. So they can't really see if people are really going to be playing in the lull times that they think there is going to be, or if they're going to see a player increase if the rank is not open for 24 hours at least. So I would rather the 24 hours for one Saturday than the 2 8-hour periods for Saturday and Sunday, in my opinion.
Deal.
Yeah, it's looking like for us Saturday and Sunday is going to be from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m.
So they're keeping the same time frame
on Sunday. Because
Same
on
time frame,
Sunday,
but they're
most
adding
people
Sunday.
Yeah. Sunday people are going to work the next day for the most part, right? So playing till 11 p.m. is kind of going to be hard.
That kind of goes into like one of the bigger problems that I think most people are kind of talking about Wink, and that is just the limited availability of the Wink mode itself. I mean, you can go ahead and like look at Soulreaper, for example. He's like a big streamer on like Twitch, know that, and his bigger problem with Wink is just the small time slots, and the big reason is because his stream schedule is essentially like in the morning till like. Wait, what?
Oh no, he's a morning. Sorry.
Morning.
Yeah, he's a morning guy, but essentially, like by the time NA Wing starts, he can only play like 1-2 games, then you gotta hop off, right? Because that's just not his schedule. He doesn't play that late in the game day, and that's kind of the same thing for me too. Where like I'm more like a morning/afternoon person, because at 5 p.m. I mean dinner, I'm hanging out with the doggos and just chilling with them. I'm not gonna be playing Wing at 8 p.m. because I want to be relaxing with the doggos. I don't want to like get woke up and trying to sweat it out, right? But yeah, I just think one of the big issues again is just the limited time slots, because I really want to climb in rank, but I can only really do it 2-3 hours and then I'm just done for the day, right? And I mean, there's some people that can't even play rank in the first place, and that's even a bigger issue. You got some really competitive players out there like Survivor that really wants to play rank, but he can't because he's working on weekends, right?
Yeah.
And that's
You
why
know,
I think it should definitely be
I'm
Friday,
not as
Saturday,
good as
Sunday.
Survivor, but I can only play on weekdays. You know, I'm busy with the weekends right now, so like I'm not able to play. So it's a very, I don't know, bumming situation. Is like I just bummed. Like I want to play. I want to see how good I can do. I want to, I've been wanting ranked because like I feel like when I play standard, which is a casual mode, I get a bunch of people that just want to, you not be as good as Joey, but play Joey builds and just not do viable things. That's only viable because you're Joey, and it's just like, all right, well, this is, and it just makes the game unfun because I want to play an actual like competitive game. I don't want to play just like, I don't want to. That's why like brawl mode. All right, I'll play a brawl mode. Just like, hey, whatever you want to play, whatever. All right, we'll play whatever. Like, I'm not worried about it. I can play that mode because it's like at max 15 minutes and then you're doing it again. But like when I'm playing standard mode, I want to play the actual mode and play competitive and enjoy it. That's the only way I can do competitive. Well, it's like ranked mode. All right, when rank comes out, I can play that one. And whether I climb or not, I get to play and have a competitive good match because people are going to hopefully not be in there throwing and playing, do messing around. That's what standard mode's for. Come in here to actually play and grind. That's what I've been wanting to do, but it's like I'm sitting out now. I have to sit here and wait for how long until it finally opens up. They finally expand the rank queue to be sometime during the weekdays to where I'm actually able to partake. That's where I'm like in a situation. But I completely agree with you. You got big streamers like Survivor or Soul Reaper that it's like their time, like you're not allowing them to play and advertise rank even more. Like you're not using your partners are your advertisers. Well, and that's not that Survivor's our partner. I don't think he is. He might be a partner. But Soul Reaper is a partner, right? And we know he's one of the bigger partners on Twitch. Like you're not utilizing the advertisement that he's able to do by him playing it and putting it out there. And you should take advantage of what your partners are able to do.
Yeah,
go
ahead.
Sorry, real quick. I wanted to bring up a post that Kari actually posted on Twitter. So Predecessor came out and they showed is like, hey, for our second week of rank, this is what we're planning on doing. So I'll just kind of read that off to you guys as I show it here. So essentially they're showing how rank mode is going, gonna have the certain schedule on Saturday and Sunday, certain times. And then also that the requirements is 20 heroes unlocked. Account level is now level 20. And I think it used to be 30, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't fully understand that. It's like, hey, you have less experience. Let's throw you into rank, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, no outstanding account bans, which makes sense, right? So this itself got quite a bit of comments when it comes down to it, which I'll just show a couple of those on the right hand side, right? But real quick, before I actually read what Kari wrote in response to everybody, to the community, do we have any comments about this specifically, like about the requirements, the duration?
Well, I think the 20. Okay, so a lot of the people, if you looked at the rank leaderboard that was also released, the majority, and I mean probably all of them are, you look at them and they're all PC gamers, right? They've all been gamers that have been around before PlayStation or Xbox been released. That's the names that are at the top, right? Now, granted, they're going to be at the top because they've had all this time to play this game and they're more experienced and able to grind and get to that point, right? But in that same situation, you don't have the console players don't always have time just to sit here and no life these games. So you don't have the ability to get level 30 as quickly as you want to get level 30. So I'm guessing, again, this is me speculating, that when they looked at the data, all the majority of their people playing ranked was PC, when majority of their player base is PlayStation. And if majority of their ranked players are are PC players playing ranked, then that means something is wrong. Either they don't have enough heroes unlocked on PlayStation, or they don't have the level requirement on PlayStation to play ranked, or they don't want to play ranked. One of those three things, and so they're lowering the level quality requirement to see if that number increases with the PlayStation ranked, or Xbox as well. But
I think you better hit
So-
that on the head.
I understand the company's view on why they should do that, which is I'm not going to argue with it. Like it makes sense when it comes from a data analysis perspective, but from a consumer / a player perspective, people that are wanting to play at a competitive level, lowering the level does not appease my competitive nature, because now what you're doing is you're increasing, yes, the more people playing ranked, but you're also increasing the less likely chance of me getting a competitive game. So therefore you're reducing ranks, I guess, what's the word for it? Like enticing me to play ranked. Yes, essentially its purpose, and like this like shining armor, right? Just like, oh dude, this is awesome. Yeah, that could work too. You guys know big words. But yeah, so it kind of takes away from that. So now I'm just like, damn, now I have more people playing ranked, but is the quality going to be there that I want from that ranked mode? If I want to play with lower level people, I can go play casual modes, right? That's what it's there for, to help people learn the game. And they don't have a good tutorial. Not a lot of people, especially if you read Reddit or anywhere else, just not a lot of people that really understand the game. I mean, even higher level players don't really understand the game at the very max level. So I don't know, it just kind of feels weird to me as a consumer.
I get what you're saying, but again, that level is just time played anyways, and time played doesn't naturally meet reflect skill level. So correct. I mean, it's the same people. I get so many people in the game that are like, oh, I can't believe this master skin whatever is in this game, and it's like that. Just because they have a master skin doesn't mean that they're actually really good with that hero. That just means they have a lot of time played with that hero, right? That doesn't reflect skill automatically. It can show something like that, but it does not a guarantee in that situation. So I think just putting more players in, again, you were talking earlier about the bell curve, right? If you bring the requirement level to level 20, that makes that bell curve a little bit, the population in that bell curve bigger now, and then that does actually give you a better chance of getting better quality games, because you have more population to pick from, essentially, right?
If they had you starting in the middle of the bell curve, right? But I mean, everybody's still at the end.
At that end of the bell curve, those people are the people that are good are going to go up. The people that are bad are going to stay where they're at, right? You're not going to. It's going to eventually filter itself out. It's going to take more time. I agree with you. I completely agree with you. You put the bell curve more in the middle, it's going to be a better situation. You have people be able to fall down. You've got people that are able to rise. Right now, nobody can fall down, so they're all stuck right where they're at. So they're going to consistently keep getting those same games until all of you filter your way out to the top, right? And that's going to take more time. I agree with that, but again, putting more people in there, it just gives you more bodies to climb over, right? Right now, you don't have those bodies, so you're going to have a chance of seeing. It's not that low population. You're not going to keep on seeing the same names, but you have a chance of seeing the same tier skill level.
I see what you're saying. The likelihood of me getting the duo stack masters is less likely because there's less masters, or there's more of the lesser end to pick from when again my player pool, which I agree with. But the fact is there's too many cons to what the system already has playing against me, to where like it just doesn't make that feel better in the overall spectrum. Because the time limit, right? You have the 8 hours, which is, like I said, like, yes, I can play the 8 hours because I'm just one of those people that are available at that time, but that's already a limiting factor. And then you have that factor of being everybody starting at that lower end. And then now you have the lower level requirements. So I think there's more going against it than for it, the way the system is set up right now. And if they're going to keep the system the way it is now, they have to adjust appropriately for what they have if they're going to keep it, if that makes sense. So yeah, load level. Okay, then how about we just push everybody up in their starting placement? I mean, at this point, I don't think it's really going to do too much. Maybe if they can't do it right away, that's fine. Or implement even like just starting out, because sure, I already did my placement matches, but I don't mind other people getting to their placement matches if they start off in the middle, because what that does is like, okay, yeah, maybe now I'm still at bronze, but now that the bell curve is a little bit spread out, it's going to be easier for me to climb in that same retrospect.
Yeah.
I'm just.
We do.
Yep. I'm about to read what Kari wrote. Just to add my 2 cents, and I kind of wrote it in the chat. I was telling you guys behind the scenes too. So I had a Quang do 1,000 enemy damage in 31 minutes. He was my jungler. And the rough part is, imagine you're in a situation like that. It's like, okay, unfortunate. I had a new to bad player. We never know the difference sometimes, right? In my team, unfortunate, we lost. Very big difference. Go on to the next game. Oh, hey, look who I just found. Because we both just lost that same game. So they literally was to the point that it's like, hey, and I hate that to even be trying to do some sort of mind trick sometimes, but it's like, all right, you know what? Don't queue for like a minute. Wait for that person to get a game, and then we're gonna queue. Because holy shit, we had that person in our team 3 games in a row, and they were like 1-9, 1-12, 3 games in a row. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not adding that guy. Like, we're all a little too close to each other right now. Like, and we literally had to stop queuing just to create some of the space, right? But even then, some great points are being pointed out in the chat. It's like, if you can, like, if the whole purpose is just grind and separate yourself from some players, right? I can only get a certain amount of matches. Like, by the time I come into this upcoming weekend, I want to say at the end of the day, I was right at the bronze 1 going into silver qualification, and I literally lost 2 in a row, unfortunately, right at the end solo queuing. So it was like, okay, rip. I'm gonna start off my weekend as bronze 1, and then be like, how many other people of the majority of the population are still within range? Because I ran into some buddies in queues, and I would DM them. It's like, hey, so I'm bronze 2 right now. What rank are you? I'm bronze 1. I'm bronze 3. And it's like, okay, so we're all just kind of queuing with other bronze, yeah, so like, from what I see.
Bronze is...
Yeah, so I'll be real with you. You got to the next step, but you're still queuing with the average of the population, right? So I understand the argument of just separate yourself, but we don't really have too much availability to do so. And it's just like, hey, I'm gonna spend those how many hours was it? 5-8 hours, whatever, just kind of trying to weed through it, right? But I want to point out what Kari actually replied to this post. And now Kari wrote, I think people need to trust the process a bit more with this one. Excuse me. Game dev is complicated and sensitive. So many games fail, studios get closed, and staff get laid off. The only way to give a game the best chance to survive is to be sensible, deliberate, and follow the data. Yeah. What do you guys think about that response in general?
I mean, that just goes back to the same mindset of consumer versus like the actual owners, right? So the data statement, we don't have the data. So like we don't know what's going on in the background. So I can't tell you if this is actually making sense or not. We don't know like the game plans. We don't know the future plans.
Real quick, so, I can tell you they have less data than they would if they just left it open all weekend. But go ahead, continue.
Right. I even brought that up earlier, right? Like more time equals more data. So that kind of just, I don't know. But from a consumer perspective, like it's hard to trust the process. Like for me, I'm more of a relaxed person now. Like if you tell me to trust it, and like obviously I'm in the content creator Discord, so we get a little bit more privileged information on certain things at times. So I'm like, I'm okay to trust the process because I have a little bit more information, right? But when it comes down to your majority of your player base, let's say the other 99%, right? We don't have all of everybody inside the content creator Discord. So they can't really trust that process if they don't have the information to trust, right? So we don't think, well, I'm not gonna say we, because I'm gonna say they, because I have more information, right? So everybody else doesn't have the data, right? Everybody else don't have privilege to certain information, even if it's even just the slightest bit. So you can't just really tell somebody to trust you when you're not giving them enough to you, right? And I'm not speaking from my end because you guys already know I'm more trusting than most people in the community, right? So, but that's just from their perspective and I can see it. But I do understand, yes, it takes time. Yes, game dev is hard, but it's also a two-way street of, okay, we'll give you more time, we'll give you the trust, but you guys have to give the player base and the consumer more to be able to get that trust and be able to get that patience.
Well, I know it's been asked a lot. have they made any posts or announcement or any Discord message that we might know of where it's like, hey, this is why we chose the limited time window, just to kind of explaining to people like they have before? Anything like that we know?
Not
I
anything
haven't
public.
seen anything.
No, not that I remember. No.
Joey, you
I
made a
mean-
post. You just made a post asking about week 3, right, on Twitter. I don't know if you just made it while we were talking or whatever, but it just came up on my phone, asking week 3, can we have week 3 start earlier? Kari commented under that. Can you pull that up and say what that was?
Yeah,
Of
she said-
course.
Oh, you're gonna pull up window?
I already had your little meme picture pulled up that I was gonna show. So I actually was already at your on your Twitter. So
You're gonna pull it up. What's Joey's comment say?
Yep.
He wants
So-
I know it's wants earlier, but what's that got?
So Joey says, for week 3, can we have rank start earlier? For example, can we do NAEs maybe at 12 p.m. EST instead at noon? I would love to grind out rank, but I can't do evening grind as that time is reserved for my doggos. Shout out to dog time. And then you want me to read Kari's answer?
Yeah.
So Kari writes and says, we'll base it on learnings from week 2. But trust me when I say the team fully intends to ramp this up as quickly and as safely as possible.
Okay.
I'm going to throw out a question real quick because I just don't understand. What about playing between 3 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern is going to tell you, hey, we're good to launch it at 12, right? Wouldn't it be launch it at 12 and then that'll give you data to know if we can support the 12 launch or not?
Shouldn't you change
24
your
hours.
window? Shouldn't you change your window of time? Like, all right, hey, the first one was from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. All right, next one, let's do from 12 p.m. or 12 p.m. to
8.
I don't know, whatever 8 hours
Yeah.
time is 8 p.m. All right, and which window of time does better? All right, let's figure some things out. Well, all right, let's actually open it from 12 p.m. to 11 p.m.
I would have liked to see that just to check a different window in general.
Like you're not getting the data. I agree with that. Your question is completely valid. Window, like you don't have that window of time to understand like what that data is going to give you.
It's like you're saying, like, you're better off just opening it up for 24 hours for 1 day period to figure out where your first time and your most population playing in
But
is
even then,
than anything else.
you're still not going to get the data. That's weekend data. You're not going to get weekday data.
No,
like-
but you get a time window data on a weekend because they're still doing it on the weekend, right? So
Right.
all their data is going to be from the weekend. So if they want data from that specific day or even any day, like they just do it on that day in a 24-hour window, you're seeing the data from that. I mean, since it's a testing phase and it is preseason, just run it, right? What is it going to hurt? We only have it for 1 day out of the week.
I think it being 2 days, kind of like what F6 was saying, Sunday gaming all the way to 11, not a lot of people could do that. It being 2 days, that might have been a great example of, hey, Sunday started at 12 and go till 8.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday, keep it 3 to 11. See how those 2 different days perform.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many different avenues that they can go down with trying to get more data to also appease their player base. And
Well,
I think it's just be a little bit more open of like, hey, what time frame do you guys want? Let's just vote on it. What's the best time frame for you for ranked? And I'm pretty sure the community will vote. They post it in Discord, you'll get the votes. You post it on Reddit, you'll get the votes. Anywhere you post, there's going to be people voting to tell you what time they should be playing. And then based off of that, that's already data that you would get without even launching the test window, just by basing that off of what time windows you want to vote on. And then once you do that, you can just be like, okay, this is the most time window or most votes that we got on this time window. Let's try it this day. And then this day we could try this time window because it's second place. I don't know. I think there's a lot of different avenues they can go with, but obviously, like I said before, we don't know anything going on in the background, so we can only speak from like our perspective, right?
I'll say 2 things. First one, what's up, Enzo? Welcome, homie.
What up, guys? Sorry, my screens ran really long. So
Nah, you're chilling, bro.
But
So,
You're trying to get on F6 level. We understand.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
So the second thing, and I'll actually lead into Pinzo so he can then do his intro and add to this part of the conversation, right? So I think the data that she might be that Kari might be referring to there, right? is specifically tied to the quantity of ranked players. Because I think Bearded hit nail on the head earlier, as far as maybe they're lowering from 30 to 20 because they want the majority of their player base, which is the console market more than likely, right? Maybe a lot of them are on the casual side. They want to play ranked. They don't get that much time to play. Some of them, like I got a homie that messaged me. It's like, yo, I'm 28. I'm not 30. I got to grind a little bit more and then I can do ranked. Unfortunate, right? But I think Bearded kind of nailed it. What if the data that they're waiting for is just to see is like, hey, once they get the overall number of people trying rank to be a certain amount, maybe at that point they start opening up. Maybe they're not looking at time frame data right now. Maybe they're just focused on overall player data before they go forward, right? Now, Pinzo, anything to add there?
I do, yeah. So I have a couple things. Number one is like, I do think you're correct to an extent of like, there has to be X number of players playing to make it worth it for them to keep the queue open all the time, right? But at the same time, I think for right now, at least, they have to, make sure that the ranked matchmakers working correctly and make sure that, what happens when a couple of duo queues get to platinum and there's only 2 other duo platinum queues. What happens to that third one that, doesn't have another plat duo to queue into, right? How does it deal with that and all that kind of stuff? And that's stuff that it would be hard to do if ranked was open 24 hours a day, because you would have the quality of matches would be lower. Whereas when you confine it to one time period, everybody's playing, at least everyone that can is playing all at once, and you should get higher quality matches. And I think that like they're collecting the data, and they get higher quality data if they confine everyone to this time period, versus like if it was open all the time, they would probably they'd get more data obviously, but it would be, if it's lower quality, is it still worth it? I don't know.
Yeah, but how do you know it's lower quality? You're gonna get lower quality matches if you don't.
Because if if I'm gold 1 and I queue NA East at 3 a.m., but there's gonna be 1 or 2 other gold players max, right? Like while we're all grinding ranks, like the match quality will be worse.
Well, don't forget, there isn't that much of a variance. You might not even get a match if that's the case. It's not even about the quality.
So, I mean, but that comes back down to like a lot of different points we've already been saying, right? So like, there's a lot of things they need to look into to adjust. Like we were saying, that bell curve is already way at this end, so there's not really a lot of room to push there's no room to push to the left. You start out at the very lowest, so everybody's going to the right, or staying in this big bell curve. So the fact that might be an issue, right? Like, okay, so yeah, 3 a.m. I might not be able to get the same amount of ranks. Is that really the fault of the time window or where the placement match starts, right? So if you start in the middle, like I was saying, you're able to spread a little bit more towards both ends to even out like where players are landing. And then you can get a little bit more information, be like, okay, are we allowing the certain amount of MM difference to be viable? Let's just say it's 100 right now. It's like, okay, we're not seeing anything. Let's make it like 150, 200. Is that a better quality at 3 a.m. for NA East, or is it worse, right? So there's a lot of things that they can do to shift up, but I feel like they're not doing, because we're just going to the same time window the next match or this next weekend coming up. So it's not really changing. It's just changing the day.
All right, I got to ask you guys a question. With a game like this, the game that we follow so well, like we focus on patches and when something new, a new hero, a new mode, whatever, a new item drops, there's hype that follows it. Is there going to be an issue, right? Soul Reaper brought this up in one of his comments that I saw. Like right now, hype is all about ranked, but ranked is only a limited window. Is that hype going to go away? Is the lure of everybody wanting to play ranked, is that actually going to go away, and people like you're only going to have the top 1% people who just want to play competitive play it, and then everybody else just you're just going to have people stick to standard mode from there? Or what do you guys think about that? Pinzo, I see you shaking your head, so I'll let you go.
Yeah, I if you don't play ranked because it's only 1 day a week, like again, like barring people who can't play, like if you're a work or whatever, if your reason for not playing ranked is it's only 1 day a week and I'm mad, so therefore I won't play, you're probably someone who wouldn't play very much ranked anyway. Like, or if you're like, and 1 day of ranked was kind of cool, but I don't really care, I'm just gonna go continue playing Brawl. Like, that's probably someone who wasn't gonna play a whole lot of ranked anyway, right? Like, if you're someone who wants to play ranked, this, like, to me, this is not a hurdle. It's like, yeah, it is it a bummer that we only get it a day or two a week? Like, yeah, dude, I wish I could play it all the time. But like, if I could queue ranked when I'm streaming, like I start streaming at like 2 p.m. Eastern, like who's on? Like, who's online at 2 p.m. Eastern time for me to queue ranked into? It would just, like, I don't know. Like, my casual matches are already, like, not awesome. So, like, what happens when I play ranked? Like, I'm going to be playing with actual bronze players. Like, it's...
Well, considering everybody's bronze and silver, so your lobbies aren't going to change much.
Yeah.
Like, as far as how it goes right now.
Right now, an actual bronze player.
Amen.
But hey,
all I'm saying is that melting pot is pretty fucking mixed up right now, bro. Like, and it doesn't matter if you're bronze or silver, you're still gonna get a variety of individuals in those games.
The people that played longer are kind of, or there's not a lot of people that are in the silver bracket to be like, it's separated, right? It's still a majority inside that bronze level. But I do understand what you're saying, though. There's definitely that factor of like opening longer time is going to create a different, time window for people to play. So now they're able to play at this time, so they don't need to be pressured into playing at this certain window. And the player size goes down for ranked mode, which yes, it 100% makes sense. But like I'm saying, I just don't feel like they're doing enough to just not full send it, right? But like expand a little bit more to get data at different times to really see if it's a problem, right? Or to go back to, like I was saying, is it really the time window, or is it really not having placement matches and not having people start in that middle of the bell curve, right? So
I thought that was kind of weird that everyone started bronze 3-0 MMR essentially.
Yeah,
I thought that was weird.
And you can't
is
go
that
down.
how it is in League? Anyone know?
So in League of Legends, like I can't say what the baseline is, but essentially when you win games, you just gain like a whole ton of LP, right? So maybe you start bronze, you win 2 games, now you're in gold, right? And so like there's a high fluctuation between in your first 10 or whatever like amount of games, and those are called your placement games. So that's the system in place that helps you figure out where you should actually be at. If you're a player that should be actually in Masters, right, then you're probably at the end of your placement games, you're gonna be placed in like Diamonds, so kind of close to there, but not all the way down into like Bronze, right? Because it doesn't make sense for someone of your caliber to be playing against Bronze players if you should actually be at Masters eventually, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, obviously
we
can't do placement games the way that it's starting. Like, there's that just they don't work.
Yeah,
that's my question. What is the original League ranked? How was that one? Was that placement matches? I mean, I don't expect anybody here to know that, but I mean, that's the question. What is the original League ranked? How did that one? Was that placement matches as well? Because like they're obviously, when their rank system wasn't fully implemented, how did it go? Because once I could be wrong for doing this, right? But forgive me for doing it. But like, I would assume that once Predecessor's ranked is fully implemented, then the new people coming in, there would be placement matches. But until then, we have to get everybody to their spots. And then when those new people come in, they can get placements and put into those pockets of where everybody's at.
No, so what will happen is they will do a season reset, right? So every ranked season starts out the same, so you can't change it mid-season.
But it's not a full reset.
Maybe the mid-season reset you can do it, right? Like do your placement matches there and like implement that system. But when you're starting a new season, everybody starts at whatever.
Is it a full reset?
Depends.
So they're gonna have a mid-season and a full reset, right? So the mid-season, sure. I mean, I guess they could definitely try it there, but I mean, why not try it earlier instead of trying it mid-season, waiting too long to get the data that you need from it?
Okay.
But whenever the season resets, everybody starts over at whatever they start their ranking system at. So that's what I was talking about last Predcast. I wish they did placement matches because I knew this was going to be a problem with that bell curve. Is everybody's going to be stuck in bronze. Maybe some will get out into silver, right? Depending on either like how lucky you are or like how your games go, or just if you're that skilled of a player, right? They're just going to naturally boost up. But for the majority, everybody's still going to be in that same kind of bell curve, and it's not going to spread out. And I think that is still the issue that we see going into week 2.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with placement games is that they don't work properly if everyone starts at 0, like at the beginning of a season. So like,
that's why they should start at gold, right? Like kind of like in Smite, like
in Smite you start at like gold. You start gold MMR, but bronze TP.
Exactly.
Your rank is bronze. So I mean, like that kind of thing could work. I mean, it gives you variance on both sides, right?
Right.
Like my main issue with the way Preds is doing it is like, if you were actually a bronze player and you want to play ranked, do you actually, like, if I queue up, would I just lose like my first 10 games because I'm getting queued into like plat players because it's essentially random. Everyone starts at 0. Like, do I just lose over and over and over again until all those players climb? Like, am I just screwed? I don't know.
Because don't forget, those players are still in the bronze players lobby in their team also, right? So they're more than likely just going to be stuck in this endless circle of win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. And maybe just kind of stay there.
Bad you are. Like, it really does.
Yeah, some of them might just be lose.
Yeah, so I had a couple people come into my stream saying like, hey, I lost my first game. Didn't lose anything because I'm just already at the bottom. And then they keep losing certain games, like they'll win one and like lose like 4, right? Which is like, yeah, you probably belong in bronze anyways, but at the same time, they're still stuck in the same pool as everybody that just started out. That most of these players, or like there's some players that are in these queues that are masters and they're stuck in there because there's no placement matches to push those master players or push those platinum players a little bit further ahead to get them out of that bronze queue to have a little bit more of a fair game.
Well, I guess my question is like, is there not? Because we're all gaining right now. Everyone's gaining 35 for a win and -4 for a loss. Like, if you're good, you will grind very quickly, right? Versus, yes. I'm assuming when you get to the higher ranks, my guess is the winning goes down and the losing goes up.
Let's figure it out, right? Pinzo, you and Joey, you played, right?
Yeah.
How many matches did you guys play?
We played 5.
You played 5 matches together. Right? Played 10. So how many? You played 10 total. So in 8 hours you were able to get 10 games in. Pinzo,
I played for like 5.5. Yeah.
Okay, so that's crazy that you got 10 games in 5.5 hours.
They're pretty short games,
right? Yeah.
So, playing against bronze players, man, they're pretty short games.
So, all right. Either way, you got 10 games in, and do you mind saying what your win loss was?
9-1.
9-1. Okay. What did you end with your rank?
I was silver 1, like 35 TP or VP or whatever.
All right. So you went bronze 3, bronze 2, bronze 1, silver 3, silver 2. You're up to silver 1 now.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
Bottom of silver.
All right.
Whatever the bottom is.
Yeah. So silver 3.
So you're silver 3.
Yeah.
Is that bottom?
I don't know if it's 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3. I'm at the bottom of silver.
It's 3, 2, 1.
It's 3, 2, 1. Okay.
So I'm silver 3.
All right. So yeah. So you're silver 3. So you can essentially still play with bronze players, right?
Oh, I bet I could. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's gonna play with. He's going to play with the top of bronze at worst.
You played 10 matches in an 8 hour period. Like, you didn't play the whole 8 hours, but you played 10 matches in an 8 hour period, and you won 90% of your games, and you're still there going to be playing with these bronzers, right? And it's like you guys aren't, in my opinion, you aren't excelling fast enough and getting out of there fast enough. Like, to limit what you were talking about, the people who are, well, hey, I am bronze, whatever, this is where I'm going to be. I'm still stuck playing against Pinzo, who's got a 90% win rate. Like, if I play against Pinzo, so there's a chance that I'm like, all right, well, this guy's already got a 90% win rate. Hopefully he gets up to freaking whatever he's supposed to be, so we can get dropped down to a 60%
just for like
win rate.
A frame of reference, if I went 9-1 in my first 10 games on a fresh split in Smite, I would probably be diamond.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you should jump faster than what you are, because you're still like, you did that, and you still are down there with the bottom of the pool.
No, the problem is I went
top
like
100,
11.
dog.
I went 11 and like 7, right? And I played the entire 8 hours. And I'm only 2 games away from being the same level as Pinto. If I win 2 games, I'm literally the same level as Pinto.
And you played how many games against F6? Sorry.
I think it was like, 11 to 7, 18 games.
18 games. Okay.
I played against F6 in ranked.
That was you.
Me and Joey actually both played against him.
It was the Sky Splitter game on the Steel I was telling you about.
Yeah, it was me,
you
Joey, and Appy Picker was playing. What got on our team.
I typed in that chat. I was like, please, for the love of God, we just gotta play safe here for a little bit. We got it, and then all of a sudden,
5 minutes
Picker,
in, it's 0 to 6.
Oh my God, I was like, yeah, that's GG's boys. But yeah, so that I'm okay with that. That's going to happen, especially in the early stages. Like, you're going to get that happen, but there's no separation is the problem. So I ran into that same situation over and over with like just unlucky lobbies, which is, I don't care, right? I'm good. I know I can climb out of this eventually, but I don't have the time window to do it, right? It's just not there for me to do it, especially as a solo queue, right? It's just cursed. But the fact is, that's what I'm saying, is like, I'm 2 games away from being the same level as Pinto, even though he has a better record than me. And that shouldn't be a thing, right? Like, you should be way higher than me based off of the win loss.
I agree. So, all right. Pinzo, I didn't get to, since you got here. What were your qualms with ranked mode? You know, what were the issues that you saw? You know, going again, let's say bans, let's say hero selection, whatever it might be. What were your issues, or even actual playing with bronze or whatever? What were your qualms with ranked mode?
I honestly didn't really have any. Like, Grim is my only qualm, but that's just like, that character is drastically overtuned. Like, it's the same thing if I just played solo queue right now. Like, that's my only issue with the game at the moment, is that there's like 1 or 2, like Grim and Aurora are just like vast outliers for me in hero strength, and I think they make the game a little unfun. But like, outside of that, like, I thought ranked was awesome. I mean, yeah, I get that it's kind of a coin toss, but like, by the time I got to game number 6, I think I played against other like PCC player 2 stacks for the rest of the day. Like, I played against Sai and Maddie for a couple of games. I played against, the one game I lost was against Ray and Neft, like that. And then I played against Import and Lake. I mean, like, I was playing against really good players as soon as I got to a certain extent, but it was also, both teams were, because I was duoed. So it was a duo, a good duo, and a good duo, and then 3 random people, and it was just whoever's randoms fed less. So, I mean, it was kind of just like the same as solo queue, to be honest. Like, that's pretty much how solo queue feels. Right. But I really didn't have any issues with it.
All right, you didn't experience any issues with the ban system, with the...
I'm apparently the only person who likes the ban system. Everyone is complaining their ass off about blind bans, and I like it. I think it should stay as blind bans, personally.
Even if it's the same, even if both teams ban Sparrow?
Yes, absolutely. Because it brings a mind game in before the game even starts, right? It's draft, and there's a mind game to it. Because Grim is so broken, if you have first pick, do you not ban Grim because you assume that the other team is going to ban Grim, right? And if they don't, do you just pick it and then you just win the game because you have Grim? What if you're second pick? Do you also not ban it if you ban not Grim, but you ban the 3rd best hero in the game, because they're going to ban the 1st best, and then they only get the 2nd best and you get more, right? Like, it's a mind game on what you ban. And I think it's fine.
Wouldn't it be like a better mind game if you can actually have a first ban and the second ban is like, okay, they ban Sparrow, maybe they're gonna first pick Grim, maybe they're gonna first pick Gideon, so let's decide, let's talk this out, right? Wouldn't it be like a more satisfying mind game if you can like better predict or better foresee what they might go for, instead of doing like a coin flip on like, okay, they might ban Sparrow because everyone bans Sparrow, right? Because I mean, you play comp.
The game, man.
I mean, you play comp, right? You see, like, go through this whole drafting phase.
Well, so I had someone in my chat earlier, I think it was Naren maybe from Ometa, and he was saying that they actually quite like having ranked be a different ban system than the competitive scene, because it creates a barrier there, which again, I don't mind. Like, I will say I wouldn't mind having 2 bans per team in ranked. I will say that part. I think there's plenty of heroes in the game. I wouldn't mind having 2 bans. I would still want them to be blind bans.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the blind bans, but like at least in League of Legends, blind bans doesn't feel as bad because you can ban up to 10 heroes and you get their own ban. Even if you get some duplicate, you're still banning like 7, 8 different heroes, right? It doesn't feel as bad if you do a bunch of dupes. But this one's like you do one dupe and then you just lose that. And in this meta where we have a lot of outliers 1 year round, it kind of feels bad if you do ban like the one oppressive hero and then it's like, okay, well, now we have 3 other heroes that's up for grabs, and that by itself is RNG because maybe you mid lane's last pick and you can't pick Gideon, right? And
That's an issue.
That's an issue. That's the issue I have. Is like it's the whole like no hero swap, no wolf swap means that you're relying on the RNG gods in your favor in your draft. Like my very first ranked game I played was my ADC and mid lane last 2 picks. I'm like, oh, dude,
Yeah,
God.
that's chalk, bro.
Yes, I'm just like, okay, get this by RNG, I guess. Woohoo, right?
I will say no hero swaps is maybe like the one thing that ranked does like truly need, I think, to be a complete system. Because like there were a couple games where I was playing carry, but I was last pick, and I'm like, well, I get like we have to ban Grim because like I'm not playing against it, and there's no way that I get it as last pick. Like that's not gonna happen. So that's
Right.
just a bummer, isn't it? Right? Like,
And that's what
I
I'm
wish
saying.
I could tell this guy to top pick it. That's like one of the few things that's truly missing.
That's what I'm saying. If they're limited on resources to be able to make these changes that we want, they have to balance the rank mode to the way they have it. So if these things are making the ban phase an outlier, right? That's just one example. Like, okay, the ban phase doesn't feel right because there's no role swap. So are you going to keep the ban phase the same, or do you change the ban phase currently? Because that's probably something a little bit quicker, or whatever it is that it could be quickly fixed. Should be the way to road, because if they're not going to fix the entire rank system within like the next month, right, or so, let's just say that it's not going to be enough time to really be like stopping the complaints, because you're just still trying to make it into the system you want instead of adjusting it to like maybe what you can fix right now.
I think that's like one of the only like saving graces of having like the time slots is that you're gonna limit the time for this so-called test on the rank mode, right? Because there was some pretty bad bugs on the first week of rank, one of which Pinzo got his fair share of him actually like not having his internal like MMR being reset properly, so he's actually rank higher, but he was gaining less in bronze than he should. Imagine like the average Joe trying to go through bronze and he'd have to play an extra 5 games to get to silver. Like that's just silly in the rank mode. And there's the whole like issue of you can't banning like keywords you don't own. So if you want to ban the warrior but you don't own the warrior,
Yeah, that was wild.
That is wild.
Yeah,
right?
that one's just a bug though.
Calico says in chat, keep it blind. Combine the votes from both teams. Disable mirror bans. So if 9 players vote Sparrow and 1 player votes Grim, Grim and Sparrow will be the bans.
It defeats the purpose of blind ban. If you do that, you might as well just make it snake ban. Like in my opinion, I don't know. Again, I'm apparently the only person who really likes the way the draft or the ban phase works. So
yeah, you're the only person I've heard that I've been okay with it. I guess I don't.
I'm the only person I've heard that's been okay with it.
I don't. How does it defeat the purpose of blind bans though?
Because then you're getting 2 bans no matter what. Like the mind game between blind bans is whether or not you ban 2 heroes or 1 right now.
Okay, so
again,
I'm gonna say this again. It's literally the fact that 1, we only get 1 ban need, and Joey already highlighted it. It's the game right now is not in state to where blind bans can just automatically work. Like it's just not. If you're the one outlier, let's just say you're the 10%, right, of the rest of the people playing ranked, right? Like there's more people with you. There's still your other 90% that don't like it. So therefore, you're not appeasing 90%.
No, I understand that.
So if 90% of your community is telling you they don't like something and you fix it, I think I don't know the development side, but I'm like, this is one thing, and you can look into all these other different complaints. Which one's the easier one to fix? Can you fix this blind pick? Or can you fix the role swap in the queue? Can you fix like where people start your placement matches? Can you fix the time period that people are able to play? What is it that you can fix quicker to get something down so your community is not like, hey, I have 4 things. I'm going to throw 4 spears at you. Instead, next week, I'm going to throw 3 spears at you. That's better than 4 still at the same week going after back. That's all I'm saying is there has to be something that they can be doing or even be a little bit more communicative with how they're developing their rank system. So people aren't like, I don't trust you because I don't even know what's going on, right? So either be a little bit more open or fix what you can fix in the quickest time possible.
I will say one thing that I just thought of it is if they add another ban, they make it 2 bans per team, then they have to increase the amount of heroes owned to play ranked,
Correct.
which may be like that might also be a barrier to them because it would potentially let less people play.
You know, I was just thinking about how nice it could be to actually have 2 bans to vote for each side. Because, like, in this meta...
I would love 2 bans, but I own all the heroes, right? If you're someone who's right on that bubble...
Yeah, I'd like to see heroes that are not getting Zeus, Grim, and all that being played, right? I'd like to see a little bit more variety and more competition for getting, like, the OP kind of picks. But the only issue with that, though, is the current implementation of the ban system doesn't work good for doing 2 bans. Like, do you just do 1 round of ban and then throw the game for the next 30 seconds, right? Like, is that okay to have people sit and scream for like 1 minute straight of doing 2 separate bans, which probably not a big deal for some people because you're just going in for rank system knowing that you have to like play by different rules, right? But again, the whole like issue with rank where it's at right now is that there's a lot of tech limitations that in place, and that's why we don't have hero swap, role swap in the first place, right? I'm just hoping that they can get past the hurdle fast enough before people start to get too fed up with rank with how it's going so far.
Let's be honest. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna ask just a more direct question for the group.
Your camera's off, by the way.
I know. I'm sorry, I'm eating. But I was gonna ask a more direct question to the group. What is wrong with the traditional PCC draft, snake draft? And why, if you have something that's been tested for so long, do we come in and say, let's do something different? I'd love to get your opinions on that, because that's something that I personally don't understand.
I mean, mine's probably a little bit more biased because I think it's cement proof. It works. People like it. I mean, it's been tried.
Don't fix it.
Exactly. So
I've never played a game to where it was a voted ban system, right? So I'm also the most inexperienced one here. I admit that automatically, but I prefer Paladin's way of doing it. That top ranked person, they're the one that does the banning, right? Now you can obviously type in chat, say, hey, this is who I'm going to go. This is who I want to play as. And this is who I suggest to ban. We should ban this person, right? And you can obviously do that and you try to influence that banner and then go from there. But then that person automatically, they're the highest ranked person. They're the one that gets the automatic say of what's happening. I prefer their style of doing it. I don't trust the vote system. I guess we're in the internet era of trolls. Like, you're just gonna that gives the option of people just voting a troll ban anyways. So I would rather just have that top person being that person's top ranked for a reason. I'd rather give them that power of banning.
Well, I would like to see the pick order be MMR order. I think that would be another like good change. The best people on your, I mean, there's caveats, right? The best people on your team get the heroes they want. But then what happens when you get to the bottom of your team? Like, is someone just going to end up totally screwed on a hero they don't know how to play? Like, maybe, right? That's just, I mean,
but
you can't
it's easier for your top people to carry with a hero that they're better with than it is to have somebody that's just like than to have that lower end MMR person,
okay.
They're gonna throw.
Yep. So if I'm gonna throw, I would rather you have a hero that you can carry with, than me, having that hero and throwing with that hero, and then you being stuck with it. All right, now I got to try to carry with this hero, right? I agree with you. I would much rather have it be MMR, stacked. Again, just like how Paladins does it. That's how I like how that's done. And then it kind of gives you something to grind for. Like, hey, I want to be top pick, so you gotta get your MMR up there,
Yeah, I think there's a lot that can be done, and there's like a lack in the rank mode for sure. I mean, that's just the total agreement. There's a lot to be done with it. And like I said, if they could just come out and be like, hey, this is our plan, this is our setup to this is the next thing that we want to do, or this is why we're doing certain things that you guys don't like, I feel like that would stop as many fires that are on or that are going on right now.
Right.
Well, Kari's
You guys-
response. Sorry, I was just going to say Kari's response almost indicates that they have a specific game plan and a specific order of events that they're following. We don't know of it. They're just saying trust the process, right? Or we got to follow the data.
that's-
So at
What
that
is
point,
gonna do for me?
but at that point, it turns into, are they just hard stuck on doing it the way they want and they agreed to, and they might not be too open to change?
I mean,
That's
how
also
people
a
are gonna
community
take it.
manager company reply, anyways. Like that's like, and I'm not nothing against Kari.
A very
Like,
PC
Kari's a great
reply,
community
yeah.
manager. Yes, that's like, hey, we're let me put out this small fire that's here, like, and it's easily to done. It's a very political answer to answer that, like, and it's gonna be done like the basically. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
It's
it doesn't change anything. Like, so you're telling me you don't give me any information. Like I said, I'm not the person to be like that. I really that to me is like, okay, sure, I'll wait. Right? I'll bide my time. But for 90% of your rest of your following and your base, your players, they don't want to hear that. Like, that doesn't say anything for them. That doesn't give them any information. All you're trying to tell me is like, I'm not going to tell you anything, but trust me. So it's like, it's not going to do anything. It doesn't.
It
put
would
out
have
the
been
fire.
better if they would have released like kind of like how when they did I can't remember what it was when they had their
big
open
apology?
no, not their big apology, when they did their open weekend or whatever, and they said, hey, this is how many people played, this is how many kills we had, this is how many. If they did like something that gave us some data that we could understand, like this is how many people played EU ranked, this is how many people play NA ranked, this is the numbers we have, right? If we were to have something like that, this is how many heroes were killed and during ranked, the time window of ranked being on or whatever. Like, just give us some data that we could work off of, that we could understand. Okay, that we could at least speculate a little bit more of what hey, we know that the population is somewhere around this spot. We think this is what it looks like. This how many people we think were there, but you give us nothing. You give us saying, hey, right, alls we know it was good enough to open up for 2 days instead of 1 day.
Right.
That's all we know. That's all that was given with the post that was given. We know it was good enough to open it up for 2 days, no more, no less. That's all we know.
Well, they already mentioned in past posts that they were going to plan on every concurrent event, expand it even more, right? So it doesn't even tell us that the first test was good enough. It just tells us that, hey, things are going according to plan.
I mean, that's the plan, but just because that's the plan doesn't mean things are going to go right the way it's supposed to. I mean,
But you wouldn't know the difference.
Well, I do. I think you would, because again, let's go back to when they did that. They did their test. And the what was it? The server test. I mean, we were testing the server. We broke it, right? Their plan.
Oh, you're talking about early days. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their plan was to have people play all weekend, and it got shut down the first day, right? Their plan. That's what their plan was. Their plan didn't work out. So again, their plan is to open it, every concurrent one. But if things didn't work out right, they wouldn't open it.
Yeah.
If they had issues on the back end, if they had issues wherever, something going on besides Pinzo not getting all of his MMR that he's supposed to be getting, if they had actual legit issues, they would not be opening it for a second 2 days. So that tells me that that it went the way it's supposed to, as planned, or at least close enough to plan, that they're opening it up.
I mean, it also be said though, is like you said, like the plan cannot be the plan that the player base wants, right? So yeah, maybe the plan you have is like, you're like, yeah, this should be surefire way to work based off your data. But if at the end of the day your player base is like, we don't want that, like what really, like what usefulness is that for you if they're just not playing it, right? So I don't know.
So do you guys think that with ranked mode, do you think that even if they did, like, let's say it is opened 7 days a week, right? But do you think it should be a time limit as well? Or do you think it should be open 24/7?
Well,
I think
eventually,
they should. Go ahead, Joey.
Well, eventually it has to be 24/7. That's just kind of the norm in any competitive game out there. It's just a question of when we can get to that. What's the limitations holding it back? Okay, we got limitations in the tech of the whole like rank system. Do we have limitations in the player base? Maybe. I don't know, right? Because a lot of stuff that's going on in the background that we don't know, and it's up to us to trust in the process, as Kari said, and trust in the making the decisions that's for the betterment of the game. But I did saw Kari. I forgot what comment was, but I think Kari was saying something about making a play report soon. So hopefully, that's gonna bring a lot of insights to a lot of the thought process and decisions on rank and like the future of where they're gonna go next with it for Predecessor.
Pred reports are those little blogs they do, right?
Yeah, but I feel like that Pred report's kind of late. It's more of like you're trying to put out the big fire that already happened when you should be putting out that Pred report.
Yeah, that's one of my issues, and that's one of the issues
Right.
that a lot of people had, like including Soul Reaper, because I don't know if you guys saw the whole situations, but like if you like look at some of the Predecessor posts over time, like when the first like announced like Wake is coming, they would bring a lot of hype, like become Paragon, give way to like climb, all that stuff, and then once you kind of got closer to Wayne, a lot of people started having focal issues about it. They kind of slowly dialed down the communication. Like they did a countdown, but they didn't even do the 1 day to go, because that's like after the whole like further drama and all that stuff going on the 2 days left to go. And then after that, when they started doing more rank posts, they started calling it like a rank test. They never started using the term test until after the whole fire just started, right? So I kind of felt like there was some like communication just lost between like what was being said to us and what they had in mind for this rank mode. I think that's where most of the problems came in the first place, is that the expectation they gave us to initially was, this is the rank that we've been asking for, this is the big deal, this is the real deal that we're going to climb, become Paragon, all that stuff. But then when we found out that it's very, very limited and not what they were saying initially, that's when I think a lot of the grinds and gears started to like really kind of go right there, right?
Yeah, and I mean, all that literally, like we said, could just be stopped with your Pred report being before you do these major achievements that you're trying to implement. Because if you tell us 2-3 weeks in advance what you're trying to do for ranked, we can tell you way before that what we don't like and what we want out of what you just told us. And you can get immediate feedback. Obviously, yes, you still need to test the data. You need to test how the game works and all that stuff, but you can at least see what feedback you can actually implement within the iteration that you have coming out, to be like, okay, we hear your feedback right before rank comes out or whatever the major content is, and be like, okay, we changed this and we changed this. Give us some time because we need something for this and this and this. And I think that will go over better than just, hey, this is what we're going to release to you like 2 or 3 days before, and then everybody's in an uproar, and then now you're waiting to try and put out a fire, trying to kind of skirmish it to be like, how do we fix this? So I don't know. I think being ahead of the situation will go a long way in the future for them.
It doesn't bother me. I'm just gonna be real. Like the whole 1 day a week ranked thing, like it really doesn't bug me. Like I think it's not. Like I think it's the right way to do it. I don't know.
Right. So what I'm saying is not based off of like my opinion. I'm like trying to speak, right, because we're on Predcast. I'm trying to speak for like what the majority of the masses are saying, because like this is the platform for that, right? That's why the New Beaters started the Predcast, is to get the community's voice out there and heard. So like you said, I don't care either that it's 1 day, that it's 8 hours. I'm gonna play the 8 hours. I'm gonna play that 1 day of the week, and I'm gonna do everything that I want to do in the game because I can, right? Like nobody's gonna stop me. It's not really gonna change my life. But for the rest of the community that we're trying to speak for, they don't like it. They're showing it out there, and they have to do something to fix it. Because, like I said, if 90% of your player base don't like what you're doing, you're not gonna have that 90% of your player base. Even though you have 10% doing everything, like I'm the one person that buys everything from the store. People still don't like a certain amount of things from playing in the store, right? So it's like there's data and there's feedback that you have to take, and it's a fine balance that you have to do. And I mean, I do that in my real life, like owning 2 businesses, now just 1, but it's a constant battle of like feedback from your customers versus what you're trying to do for your future big plans as a company. And I feel like they haven't been hitting the nail on the head on finding the balance between the two. and they need to revert back to getting a little bit more on the feedback and openness side to get the community a little bit more involved.
So real quick, worth mentioning, let me actually turn my camera on. Done. But worth mentioning, so earlier in the chat, Ace said, our social channels don't even come close to the size of the game on console. That's why we have to use data. That's why we can't do a poll. Or that's why they didn't do a poll, is what he said specifically. Sorry. So, like,
Fair.
But you can still get console players to do a poll. Like, every time that we finish our first initial match of the day or whatever, we get a little, how was that match? Rated in stars, sort of shit, right? So literally,
I mean,
like, we could still get people to answer a poll, even if it's a login of the day. You just logged in, answer these quick 5 questions. Option A, B, C, or D, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, that's going to be a little bit tedious for players. People don't want to open up that link. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do to fix that, though, right? Because, like, even though you can't get the number and the size that is truly your player base, you can still get some of your player base, right? The people that are really committed towards your game are going to tell you throughout your socials, right? The people that just play on an everyday basis, you have a little menu with all the news that pop up. Hey, click this survey to tell us about what times you want ranked. The same thing you do in your post that could be in game that you can just easily adjust. Now you're able to reach your player base that log into your game. Now you're able to reach your social media platform, and you're creating a little bit more openness and getting the community involved in what you guys are trying to do. And there's your feedback. But I don't know. Maybe I'm making it sound too simple.
No, and I agree with you. And then you also have, I mean, it's like, I mean, not to try to get political here, but like, you have, everybody has your votes, right? But like, you have every individual vote, it can't always count, so you have your electoral votes. So essentially, the ones that are going to be voting on socials, those would be your electoral votes, and essentially, right? Because you might not be the full community size, right? I understand that council's got a huge player size, but there's still just because you play on console doesn't mean you don't have social media. Doesn't mean you don't follow Twitter. Doesn't mean you don't follow Reddit, right? Just because you're a console player doesn't mean you don't have a PC or your phone can do it whatever you want. So you can still vote on it, right? I get your console sizes, the console player base is big, but your electoral votes, like you said, the people who are truly following this game and want to have a say in how this game is created and improve this game are going to be the ones that are going to vote on that poll. Right. And like you also said, in the game, there's a spot in the left over there. You can click on the patch notes and see what the latest patch was. So instead of having that patch there, you can have a hyperlink that goes to a poll, and then they can reply to the poll. So if you're that into it, and you don't want to get on a social media, you can go to a website, go to their website and vote on the poll there, and do a voting that way as well.
I mean, Ace just said it in chat. Like, this is the thing, like, it's not like they pulled 3 to 11 p.m. Eastern time out of their ass, right? Like, that's when the most people are playing the game, right? Like, if you were to put a poll out and say, hey, what hours of the day can you play? 3 to 11 Eastern would probably win, right? Like, it's not like they were like, roll a d20, 3 o'clock, roll a d20, 11. Okay, yeah, 3 to 11, that's when we'll do it. Like,
yeah. But
they're doing, like, they did what they could with what they had.
If they're going to get the same information, what looks better, reaching out to the community to get the same information, or just doing what you want in the backhand side with the same information, right? So yes, you might possibly get the same exact results, but which way is going to be better for your player base and your community that's helping you keep this game alive? I'd rather you put out a vote and be like, yeah, cool, that's the same data that we got. It's glad to know that everything is working that way. But what if for some reason it actually just is different for what people voted versus what the data that they have? They have to be like,
yeah, but
why
they
is
did that once, and then people voted differently than they thought, and then everyone is mad.
Nah, you're talking about FaZe. He's talking about FaZe poll.
That was the last time they did a vote.
Okay, bro.
That was the last time they did a vote. And again,
and that's not even a bad vote. That's literally, that's like a hero being released, and it's like, that's not as impactful. I mean, I'd rather have that still, where they like, okay, we messed up, we voted up. Yeah, that's us. They can blame us back. Like, hey, we did that.
Yeah, but that's not how people think, though.
Real quick, guys.
Because all 11,000 people that didn't vote FaZe just blame the people that vote FaZe, right? So it's like,
yeah, they're not blaming on meta.
well, it doesn't really matter. Like the point, it's not. People don't say that one's on me.
Wait, sorry, real quick, guys. The whole idea that F6 saying like maybe it's not needed, but still gives a good outlook. That's kind of what you're saying, right? F6. So
Yeah.
No, I
Yes.
understand.
that kind of reminds me of actually on a recent example. Have you guys heard or watched the Summer Games Fest 2024?
Mhm.
Yeah, like remember like so like they did the whole like thing. A lot of people were very disappointed with it, but then the guy who hosts the whole thing still put out a poll. He knows people are gonna be like very negative about it, but he still did it because he's a very down to earth kind of guy, right? So even though it's kind of like, yeah, we kind of knew where that poll was gonna go, that made that guy more relatable, more cooler in that sense, right? Like he's like kind of like turning that into like a small kind of joke, like haha, like I know it's kind of bad, but yeah, whatever kind of thing, right? So
It's more of a face value effort than just not doing.
Well, I mean,
and it's
yes, because I'm going to vote on that, right? I'm going to vote for weekdays in this time slot, right? And then once all the voting is done, I'm going to realize that I'm a minority that can only play on weekdays, and it's going to come out that the weekends are going to be the hot times, and that's when they're going to do it is on the weekends. But the community voted for it, and I have hey. The community voted for it. I was a minority. I tried. I put my vote in. I tried. I said this is where I want. I can play. This is my availability time. All right. I have to wait till it opens up to my time frame, and that would have been better in that situation than it just be like, this is what we're doing, and then like and it based off data. Okay, what data?
He did another like funny example. Not funny, but like this really directly relates to this. RGSA put down a poll on the YouTube channel asking, should we increase rank availability? And guess what? Everyone voted yes for it pretty much. That's the answer we all expected, but he still did it anyways, just as a way to just kind of get engagement and just see just generally the interest, right? So like it's kind of like contradicting your own point of like you don't want to do a poll because you already know the answer, but then you kind of already did on your channel, right? Which I kind of get that was just sort of a way you want to have fun with your audience and get engagement off, but there's still a purpose of why you did that in the first place. Yeah.
It's to get the interaction from your community, to have them even, I know it's like, it's probably bad to say this in a way, but that's why people do certain things, right? Like it's to get the people involved, even if they really, quote unquote, is not really going to change anything, or they don't really get that too much into it, because at least they had a chance to say what they needed to say. And you can work off of that. You can come back and say like, yeah, I know you guys voted for this time frame, but our data shows this, and we're going to go with this, and that is wise because our data shows this. And I think that's still even a better outcome than just flatly saying we're just going to do this just because we think we're going to do it.
Agreed.
I think there's better ways to go and approach the certain situations that they sometimes have the fires going on for. And I think it just comes out to a little bit more communication. I think that's literally all it is.
I mean, they sort of have to do all that, like go the extra mile for communication to the community, because one of the biggest like hallmark stuff they say about the game is we're very community driven, right? And so like you want to try to get as much engagement with the community as you can, having like very sparse details about rank, not having this play report on time explain why you're doing this, and then kind of refusing to do some of these like more engagement like polls and other stuff. Like you already know the answer, but you still want to engage with your community. Not doing all that, it kind of goes a little bit away from the community driven goal for this game, right? And I think that's one reason why some people are getting pretty upset with how Pred is at right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I think one of the biggest things we've been asking for dev streams, where I feel like they don't have to do it all the time, but whenever they're having these big content batches, just throw up a dev stream. Who worked on ranked, right? Like get them on there, get them with the community manager and be like, hey guys, this is what we currently have right now for our system. Do your Pred report that way. I think that's even a better option than just writing out a report, because instead of just having just words on a website or a piece of paper, quote unquote, right? You're having somebody engage with the community. You're engaging with the community at a different level. And even though you're saying the same things, you're doing it a different way. And that's really where I think they can just up their game, like you're just saying.
But like the last dev stream was a shit show. Like,
which one was the last stream?
I don't know, 3 months ago, 5 months ago.
Steg's interviewed what, 2 of the devs, right?
It's
Was that the Pred talk?
yeah, the last
that what
dev
they
was a
were calling
Pred
it? I don't-
talk.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was no, it wasn't Pred talk. It was Pred talk was just Ace talking about the future of the game. I mean, that wasn't a live stream. That was a
I think
I'm
I'll
just like a
find that.
video. But the last dev
it
stream
was
was
like
a
it was
while
some
ago.
Twitch stream. It was like 5 or
Yeah.
6 months ago. It was right, but I think it was right before or right after the new year. Like it was right around that time. I think.
I remember it was the one where they have like 3 different devs out on at once.
Yeah, I
right?
think it was Ace and Blood Mortius, and I don't know.
Still-
there might have been another one. I don't know if there was a third one.
Just
But it was
because
just
it
like
didn't
it was
go
a shit
well.
show. It was like their production wasn't awesome. Their content, like what they were telling us, was very. They just didn't have anything to tell us, right? Everyone was just making fun of them in
Mhm.
chat, right? I mean, it's just like, is there a reason to do that? I don't know.
But we gave them feedback on what we didn't like about that dev stream. So why don't you go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, when we do our next dev stream, what did the people not like? Let's fix it. It's the same principle of we got feedback, be like, hey, we heard your feedback on the
All
dev
right.
stream. We're gonna try and fix it here. So I mean, I feel like it just comes back down to just being
But I'd say, or hear me out. It's almost like you got partners that you can directly reach out to that do videos like this often. Oof. Anyway.
It'd be crazy if they used their content creators, wouldn't it?
Right? So
50 people in a content creator Discord. It'd be crazy if they did anything with that, wouldn't it be?
the last one they had, it was a Pred dev stream, and it was Stegs interviewing Alex, Blood Mortius, and Import. And it was, so that's when it was. The other one, the Pred talk was more recently. It was 3 months ago, and that was Ace talking about Xbox and all the stuff, like the things that are upcoming here in the future, right? And that some of that stuff we've already got now. But that is the most recent like dev talk video like we've had, was Stegs talking to those 3 devs.
Yeah,
8 months,
and
8
it's
months
like-
ago.
The resources are there for. I am sure there's a lot of people in the community that is willing or has an expertise and willing to help out that cause on certain different levels, right? Even if it's just like an attempt or an effort to try and appease what your community wants, I think that goes a long way, even if it's not the best. Because even if the dev talk was horrible, right? It was just like we didn't, or majority of people are just like, this is not like the quality we want. It still was better in the long run when it comes out to engaging into the community. And I actually liked the dev talk. I learned a lot from it. I'm sure there's more people out there. And I think it would have been worse if they didn't have a dev talk, right? But the fact that they didn't keep going with it is probably the biggest problem.
I mean, and I agree with what Windu said. Is like they have the platform already here created. You know, Stegs can more than welcome. And I've said it openly. Like my goal for this show was to eventually get it to be the Paragon community corner that they had. Like I would love for that to be the mainstay, you know, that you get that and you'd be able to see the show and get that information from here. And Stegs is more than welcome to come on. We can even make him a permanent guest on here or a host on here, and he could then portray that Pred, you know, blog that's supposed to be having, but having a person here telling you that information is better than it just being a piece of paper that it's there for you to listen to or there for you to read or not read, whatever, you know, like, and, you know, again, a lot of there's audiobooks that people would rather listen to it than actually read it themselves, right? And it makes Ometa seem more personable than it would be than it just being a written word.
Yeah, because at that point you're just going like, oh, that's just a standard PR move, you know, just kind of releasing this. It doesn't feel the same. It's not as genuine, you know,
Right.
taking the time. Like you're still taking your time out of your day. Don't get me wrong. I mean, everything that they do, like Hari and the rest of the community manager team, when they're making those posts is great. But there's a different level of engagement with face value than it is on like a website or a piece of paper, quote unquote. I mean, that's just me.
I'll be real. Here's what they should do. Throw Stegs and J Shreds in a little podcast format and let them have a presidential debate and just let them go at it. Throw some of the most personable, you know, like, hey, I can put on a face for a camera, have an active conversation, play the devil's advocate sort of people that they got. Have those people just kind of create more,
I mean,
so to speak, right?
You're on a great point there, because I mean, let's just think about it. What's the community manager role, right? It's to speak for the community, right? And like trying to contain it. Have the community manager speak for what the community is saying. Like, hey, talk to whoever's making ranked. Okay, and Mike, Ari, Stegs, or whoever it is, community manager side being the argument of the few or the consumers, and then you have whoever's in charge of whatever else is there that they want to talk about, try and rebuttal whatever the consumers are saying, and they can just kind of just do devs and talking about the game on their side of things, you know? I don't know.
There's a lot of things could be done, man. And here's the thing. I don't want to take the credit away from community managers, because, you know, with posting, commenting and stuff like that, like they're doing a great job as it is, right? But I'm gonna aim the crosshairs a little bit higher up, because the community managers can only say what they're allowed to say. They can only talk about what they're allowed to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're still kind of tied hands for certain situations when it comes down to it. So I like, again, I still think they have very personable people, very, like, let's just say even camera friendly people that could easily just make a quick video. It's like, hey guys, just wanted to update you on this. We all know Stegs loves making these little videos with his voiceover and stuff like that, right? So even if it was a simple, I'll be real, even if they randomly threw out like, hey, we appreciate all the feedback, we're taking it into consideration, here's what you have to look forward to next, and then randomly show the little picture of the next 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Even just seeing like a little bit more of a personal touch would go a long way, specifically when so many people are, and what it feels like there's a lot of pitchforks being pulled out this week. A lot of pitchforks, a lot of fires.
Affinity Week. You guys remember Affinity Week?
Yeah.
It's like that.
I agree.
That one was, in my opinion, 1000% warranted by every member of the community, though.
Yes.
Like, this one seems a little bit more, at least,
spread.
I mean, somewhat split. Yeah.
It's not as intense, right? I agree with you there, but it's
that
still...
Affinity was completely one-sided, like, right?
Yeah,
like
nobody was like, yeah, we like this. No,
I think this is actually okay. Like, no, go jump off a bridge, right? Like that, none of that.
No.
But I still think it still has the same merit, right? There's still a higher percentage of an uproar with enough pitchforks for them to come back out and be like, okay, yeah, we totally messed up. They can even come back and be like, hey, this is all the feedback we saw from you guys. We're going to take it, give us a couple of days, get something here together for you guys, and we're going to give it back to you. That's our fault for not being a little bit more open towards you guys before we release this and trying to get your feedback earlier on. But this is what our upcoming plans are, like Windu is saying. Kind of just give something. If you don't give something right now, other than, hey, rank for week 2 is going to be open up another day for the same time, it's not going to go good. It's not.
All that being said, I'm still looking forward to playing Ring.
Oh, I'm gonna be playing those 16 hours. Don't get me wrong. I'll be in there kicking and screaming.
Well, don't forget, because you can play in EU hours. I know this now.
No, I'll be able to.
But don't forget, you can play in EU hours and go play in the EU server, and it'll still count.
Bro, I got like
after my 2 games in
ping,
EU,
bro.
I do not want to go EU ever again.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think 200 ping on EU ranked would be easier than 60 ping on NAE strength. That's all I'm saying.
Are you gonna say that if you give a resolution-based support in your game going 300 CS?
Was that an EU game?
Yes, it was.
Ah, that was okay.
But,
hey, that EU water is different, bro.
Yeah.
I win that game.
I know
I'm just built that way.
He's built different.
Yeah, you
One
know
thing I
what?
do
Me
want to
going
bring up,
20
though,
no on sales is not good enough. I'm sorry, I guess.
just be better.
Okay.
Carry. Just
Just
you gotta
carry
carry
harder.
harder.
Zaris and
Carry
you're
harder.
losing, man. Like, I don't
That's
know what to tell you.
crazy, dude. You're not carrying hard
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, I
It's
guess
like,
I'm
didn't
not.
deserve to win.
One thing I do want to bring up is I feel like, okay, so one of my second game playing ranked, I had 3 people DC in my game, and I honestly almost just threw my PC out the window. Like, I think I've never been so mad about a DC in my life, and it was within 5 minutes of the game, and I was like, I don't see these people again, right? The very next game, I get the same exact people.
Because you're the same rank.
Yeah, but I was like, Shouldn't there be a
with the DC,
longer
there should be a
penalty?
ban. Yeah.
Like I feel like
They said there was, no?
ranked.
I've been
look,
told that penalties are higher in ranked.
Hey, look. All I'm saying is, I feel like they should just either be a 12-hour right away from just. Okay, not 12. That's kind of
12 hours. You're not allowed to play for the rest of the test.
I'm griefing. But I feel like it just be stricter. I feel like there shouldn't be as many allowed when it comes to playing ranked. I feel like there should be two separate kind of ban systems for it. Like there's longer times when it comes to rank. Like, yeah, the first DC is like 5 minutes or the same with the first one, but the increments just increase harder than whatever it is now.
I mean, what about like remakes? Like in Smite, it's not like remake, but if someone DCs before 5 minutes, you can surrender and you don't lose any MMR.
Brother, we don't even
It's
have rule
essentially a
swap,
remake.
so I'm not even gonna ask for that. I'm gonna try and be reasonable here, and at least they can increase the penalty on ranked mode. I think is probably the easier
That's
bet
fair.
than getting a remake. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, we're reaching that 2-hour mark. We've kind of said what we wanted to say about ranked mode, anyways. I do want to continue this conversation next week, though, and I really want to talk about Affinity and how that has been going. But we should also be getting a patch here soon as well, right? Isn't there a patch coming up
From Tuesday.
A week from Tuesday?
Yesterday.
2 weeks from yesterday? Okay.
I
Thought should be next week. I thought it was. I could be. I guess I'm counting wrong.
I
I'm
thought it was
hoping-
2 weeks from me. I guess I could be wrong. Does anybody know?
okay,
Um,
calendar pulled out to be honest.
I do not know. Real quick, RGSH just pointed out in the chat that their ban is larger if they, go AFK or whatever in the middle of a rank game, and they lose 25 as opposed to 5 or whatever, and it's the only way that your account can go negative MMR points is by going by dodging or whatever.
I'll see you guys at Bronze 3, negative 1,000 MMR, okay?
Yeah. Okay, so I mean that's awesome to hear. I did not know about the second part, but when you say the penalty is longer, like how is it long? Like is it 30 minutes longer instead of the 5 minutes or whatever it is, or is it like an actual increment that really stops people from being like, hey, like if I AFK twice, like I'm pretty much done from playing ranked for today, so I don't want to do that.
July 2nd should be. So you're right. 2 weeks, Pinzo. Because the last one we got.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, because
That's
we
what I
got
thought.
the 11th. The 11th is when we got 18.3. So,
And Hero next patch also. Side note.
yeah. So there should be a content patch next patch. Whether it be a hero or plus, I don't know. At least a hero is what we should get out of it.
There better be some balance updates in the next patch. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I'm gonna throw a fit if there isn't.
I mean, we pretty much yelled at them all last podcast for that, so I have high hopes.
Have you seen any hotfixes since then?
I don't think we're getting hot fixes for balance.
No,
No.
I don't think we're gonna get off.
Yeah, we talked about that last broadcast about how you don't get a hot fix for balance, not like that, unless it's you only hot fixes for something that's broken or a bug.
Broken, yeah.
So, but all right, let's do our outros. In the same order that we did, but I know Pinzo's here, so let's do Joey, Pinzo, F6, myself, then Windu, and give everybody a little encouragement about ranked, thought or whatever.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah, words. Yeah, there you go. Tell them how you went 9-1 and how they can break the system there, Pinzo. In
I'm
yours.
just cracked, dude. I don't know what to say.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so again, this is yours truly. You can find me over on YouTube for my daily commentary videos. And just if you want to know like meta builds or some of the really wacky fun builds, like a certain infinite mortgage wink wink build, you can find me over there. You can also find me over on Twitter. I'll just do up-to-date stuff, and you can also see my pictures of my doggos over there. My biggest tip to anyone trying to climb Wink is just play consistently. Don't roll swap a whole ton. Don't try to play 10 different heroes. Know the heroes you're best at. Know the heroes that are good in the meta. Stick with them. Even if you have a losing streak, stick with them, because consistency is what you need to climb in any Wink game out there.
Yeah, I'm Pinzo. I make content on Twitch and YouTube. You guys can find me Pinzo on all my socials. Words of wisdom would be like, I don't know, man. Like, just chill out a little bit, man. Just take a chill pill. Like, people are really, really throwing a fit, and I think in 1 month you guys won't remember what you guys are throwing a fit about right now. Like that.
I mean, that goes for all of life.
Too high strung.
That goes for all of life, but we're still going to live in the moment, right?
It does go for life, period. I understand.
I don't remember shit that we did 3 years ago, but we're still worried about what the hell we're going to do tomorrow and what happened today.
I get it, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. Like, I strongly believe there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm just the only person that's optimistic about Pred at this exact moment in time. Like, it's just me. I'm on an island. You guys can come join me at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow at twitch.tv/Pinzo, where we're positive vibes only.
You can be optimistic about the actual game, but still have like trouble, I guess differences when it comes to certain things. Not like we don't believe in the game.
You can be optimistic, but you can still have disappointments with the game, only because you care about making the game the best it can be.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm at 6. I stream over on Twitch. I haven't recently because I've been busy, but I should be back tomorrow or Friday, definitely for ranked. So you'll see me there. And then do some casting for Fang Booth this weekend. That should be fun. And yeah, other than that, my words of wisdom to the community: not rage quitting your games, just play. I mean, especially if it's ranked, just play the game, because either way you're gonna lose VP. You might as well stay in the game and lose less VP and just to stick it out. And then for the devs, I mean, I know you guys work hard. Just talk to you guys in the content creator Discord as well. It's not like we're saying you guys don't do your best, but I feel like there's different avenues that you guys can go down and kind of change how you guys are moving currently to appease both yourself and the community to kind of not have as much of these fires start. So just maybe take a look at it, maybe look a little bit deeper. But yeah, that's it.
All right. As for myself, you can see me streaming, hopefully coming up soon here, because softball season's about to be done this weekend. You'll see me streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Wednesdays, maybe even Thursdays. We're going to try to talk to the guys here about getting a Thursday Predcast here, because I have a special guest that's only available on Thursdays, not on Wednesdays. So I'm working on that, but we'll see what happens there. Then again, that's like 7:30 to 11:30. Gaming, playing Brawl mode, playing standard mode, not playing ranked mode because that's not available Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. But other than that, catch me live there. As it goes for ranked mode, just stop being toxic. That's the biggest thing. You know, like, you're not helping anybody out by being toxic. It's literally not helping. It does nothing. All right. I wasn't in rank mode, but I had somebody being toxic with me in standard mode. My one standard mode I haven't played standard in a long time. I played standard mode last night. I had somebody being toxic with me right from the get-go. And I went 4-1-10. Like, I'm like, what? I did nothing bad, but they wanted to be toxic. It's like, but it did nothing to benefit them. So don't be toxic. There's no reason for it. It doesn't benefit you. Play the game, put your blinders on, and have fun. But yeah, that's what I got. Windu.
Yeah, and as far as I go, guys, again, I'm Windu the Mace on all my socials, Twitch, YouTube, and everything. I just got to get to a little bit more content creation. I've been so focused on my recent, let's say, job adventure, so to speak, my career venture, right? Been super absorbed by that life, so I got to get back into the content creation. But I will say, guys, I tested Predecessor for the first time. What was it? March 2019. We didn't even know that COVID was a thing at that point. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm gonna twist it on Pinzo. Years ago, I still remember those initial tests. I still remember when it was just Smokey streaming on Twitch, how he's working on the Murdoch trap, how to change the things here and there when it scaled. You get what I'm saying? Like, I remember those. I give them benefit of the doubt, and I'm here supporting them. But my word of advice for everybody would be, we can be critical and we can give our opinions without needing a pitchfork in our hands. Like that whole pitchfork mob mentality and everything, like, yeah, sure, go read Frankenstein if you're into that shit, right? But at the end of the day, I really do believe in it's how you say it, not what you say. And kind of like what Bearded said, that goes the same thing in rank, right? You can tell somebody, hey, build this item, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like, you're dog shit, build this item. I don't know why he's mad at me, bro. I don't get it.
Yep. It's so true.
So perspective is everything, but I'm totally along with, hey, it's okay to feel passionate. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to want this game to do better. I still fully support it. I'm still here with them, but I'm still going to hold them to the standard that I've held them the entire time. I just don't need to yell about it. I don't need to go on crazy, rants about it and etc. I can still voice my opinion and have it be heard. But yeah, guys, much love. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night, whatever it may be. Appreciate y'all joining and watching. If you made it this far, whether it be on the Twitch chat currently or on YouTube video after the fact, drop a GG in the chat. If you know, you know. If you made it this far, you're one of the few. And unless we got anything to say, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.